director for the Alexander Gallery. I'm just really ecstatic to get to share and promote Rachel Denny's work in this space. We have been waiting a very long time for this opportunity to showcase her work, and it's really wonderful that our students are going to get to experience her installations in three-dimensional forms and attentions to nature, so we are very thrilled about that. I'd also like to let you know that this exhibition is supported by a generous grant from the Oregon Arts Commission, and we thank the Oregon Arts Commission for supporting this work. To let you know a little bit about Rachel, which I know many of you do, it's so great to see such a vast grouping of her supporters coming to share this work with us today. Her work has been shown throughout the nation and internationally. I got to meet her almost 8 to 10 years ago, so she is an artist that I really appreciate and admire as a professional working artist here in the Portland area in Cascade Foothills. So please join me in welcoming Rachel to talk about her work.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I thought since there are some students here that I would just sort of give you a background on how I became an artist, maybe. I didn't really grow up around artwork. We lived kind of in the country. My dad was a truck driver, and my mom did a lot of different jobs, and so I started out like most people and just sort of drew a lot when I was a kid, just drawing, and reading, and going to the library. And of course, my parents encouraged that, so that helped out a lot. My mom would definitely support me growing up. She would, buy me art supplies and just really encourage that. And it kind of took off, and it's kind of how I was able to interpret the world a little bit and also kind of control my world, because we did move around a lot, so it was kind of helpful to have that sort of base, I guess. And then I ended up going to Pacific Northwest College of Art for about a year before I dropped out. And then I kind of drifted around, but still always was interested in art. I went to art galleries a lot, and museums, and just kind of tried to stay sort of making work and getting some support from different things, like Reading Frenzy, which is a bookstore that I would show at, and sell postcards and make artwork for. So I just always had that going in my life, and to keep me kind of stable and keep my mind busy and my hands busy, which was really what I needed, I think. So this particular exhibit, I was loosely inspired by Edwin Landseer's 1864 painting titled, Man Proposes and God Disposes. So I ended up seeing this painting, which is kind of a huge painting. It's by 8 by 6, and then it has a couple polar bears that are kind of tearing at the remains of an icebound ship. So it's kind of an exciting, dramatic painting, and the person was definitely influenced by this huge news story at the time of the Franklin expedition that was lost. And I kind of saw this painting, and it was a little over the top, so I didn't want to do anything really just like that, but I also thought that it had a lot to do with how much we use things and how much we're against nature. Nature's power is a little superior to ours, even though we don't necessarily believe that. We think we can just use nature and be in nature, and it's a resource that we can just use it willy-nilly, but I don't think it is, and everything's a little out of balance right now. So I often use a lot of recycled materials in my work, and I try to think about that when I'm working. Since I kind of live out in the country myself, I can see the deer every day, and it kind of affects me, and it calms me a little bit. So it's just really nice having that out there. I thought I might answer a few questions that people usually always ask me. And one of them is, why don't your animals have eyes? I get that a lot. So you'll notice the seals have eyes, which is pretty rare, but I think they're kind of cute and kind of want you to draw you to the pieces so you notice more details in the piece rather than just the seal. But the other pieces, I think eyes would be distracting, and it would kind of make I want you to see the form and the texture more so, and just have more of an emotional impact of the entire piece, rather than focusing right in on the eyes, which would be really natural to do for us. And let's see, another question is, where do ideas come from? Where do your ideas come from? And that's kind of a funny one, because we don't really know. I don't really know, I guess, would be the answer, but a lot of it's experience and just kind of letting, as an artist, I think I really appreciate having the time to stop and think, and it's a quiet sort of activity. And then you're usually alone too, so you're thinking and reading and sort of absorbing information, which is a more slow thing than most people do these days. We're always sort of pushed to do more, see more, just soak it in. The internet makes it really too easy to go too fast, I think. So I really appreciate in my career that I can stop and follow just like a tangent, a thread, sort of explore ideas at my own pace. And I find that really great. I really appreciate that about what I do. So does anyone else have any questions or yes?
Yes, I noticed the Coke can and a few little things in the iceberg, and I wondered if that was symbology for maybe the trash that might be floating around.
It definitely is. Actually found the can on the road on my morning dog walk. So that immediately was like, I'll put that in my pocket, take it home. And then some of the other things are there's a little light on the back, a little pen light on the back of it. And that's some just junk mail that I received. I was like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. Oh, here it goes. Perfect. And then the bowl back there, all of the cords were also found on the side of the road. I was walking the dog again. I do that every morning. But I found a reel of just computer cords on the side of the road, and I walked past them and then kept walking, and I was like, wait a minute. So I went back and just as I was walking kind of had the idea for that piece. And then a friend also gave me some old cards she was going to just throw away. So I do try to recycle a lot. And then the automobile parts are kind of new to my work, but I just think they're really interesting that someone really designed them very carefully, someone aesthetically thought of them, and then also about their purpose. And then now they're pretty much just trash. So they're either going to get recycled, or I found the big hood over there just in a mud puddle in a junkyard. And the guy was like, you want to buy that? Okay. So he was pretty thrilled that I wanted it. And so what's that?
The snails, it's so worried.
True. Yes.
I've seen like your snails, they're not like particular shells that are so something found on the beach. So what did you go about that?
I can't quite hear you, sorry. That's okay. It's all right.
The shells on the snails, they're particularly like found on beaches or, they're just not ordinary snail shells. So what made you pick that?
I just like the shape of them. They're really recognizable as snail shells, but I just like the shape of them, I guess. So I wasn't too picky on them, on a particular type of snail. Yes.
So you have this sort of concept of your plan. Did you have a fully formed plan, or do you start with an item and then you sort of start, other things come to you and you start fleshing out more and more pieces, or what's your process?
As I said, I was inspired by that kind of over-the-top painting I saw that I thought was really relevant with how we're doing space exploration now. Like there's always this like consumption, going further, getting more, seeing more idea in our culture. And then I kind of wanted to use a polar bear somehow, and it does change a lot. The more you think about it, the more you're like, well, that's not the great idea. Maybe this is the great idea, and you kind of think about materials more and what you actually want to say. So I originally, had more of a space theme going on, but I thought that was a little too much it's more timeless now, I think, and deals with history, like the leaves, the quilted leaves that are so lovely, have a lot of news headlines in them. So like the Titanic sinks, polio vaccine found, I think is one of them. And that's kind of just referencing to the cycles in history. So things happen over and over again, it seems like to me. And then slowly more pieces came. And some of the pieces were finished pretty close to the time they were installed, like the ones on the back wall. So things just keep accumulating once you start thinking about things. Yes?
Rachel, I'm really liking the hood and like this trunk thing. I like how you're implementing kind of contemporaneous things into your work. Is that something that you're thinking about, like what's happening to the wildlife? I'm just kind of curious. And some things kind of stand alone, like the seals and his eyes, so that's kind of elegant. I kind of like that we're kind of connecting. There's this connectivity that's happening, unfortunately, in a lot of ways. But is that something you're thinking about too? Is that in the back of your mind, or is it part of your thinking? Or?
I think about the environment and climate change a lot, actually. I think climate change is definitely one of the most biggest problems we have to deal with right now. I mean, there's a lot of horrible things people are doing everywhere, and there's also great things. I don't want to be totally negative. I'm definitely an optimistic person about this. Like I do think about the degradation and overconsumption of nature and how we're not in balance with it and how we are overusing it and destroying it. And I think the car pieces do talk about that a little bit, just like with the speed we go through the environment without thinking about what we're actually going through and just the waste of it all. So, though there are some really positive things, like the humpback whales are coming back, so that's a great thing. So there's, I think, 80,000 of those now instead of 10,000. So. Anyone else have a question? Yes. Oh.
On the leaves back there
Mhm.
that were stitched together,
Uh-huh.
is there any meaning on the writing that was on the board?
Yep.
Made you choose that?
Definitely. I had wanted to make leaves that had headlines in them and newspaper stories. So I had thought about doing stocks and bonds sort of pages, like all the Wall Street sort of stuff. But then I looked around and I was going to do some screen printing, perhaps, to make those leaves. But then I Googled around and found some pre-printed fabric that had headlines of different historical events. So I thought that would be appropriate as well. So it does add a little bit of meaning, I think. Yes.
Are those all ravens?
Yes.
What's your relationship or whatever with ravens, or what made you pick ravens, or do you have a certain thoughts or feelings about ravens?
I love the forms of them. I love how they look when they're flying. I love, obviously, they do carry things a lot. You kind of picture them carrying things more than other birds. They kind of live off the debris of humans a lot now. I mean, now, I'm sure a long time ago they didn't. So they do eat carrion. They do sort of pick up after society. So that's kind of what I was thinking with them in particular.
Okay, cool. Rachel, are those birds, are those resin or clay?
Nope, they're all clay. I use like a two-part sort of epoxy clay that I've found called, I think it is called epoxy. So it works really well.
Really cool.
Yeah. Is it heavy?
It is a little heavy. Someone else had a question, I thought? Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Kate, for letting me have this gorgeous space to make work for.